Hello and welcome to the lecture on Introduction to Supplier Relationship Management. In this particular lecture, we are going to understand on why it is important to build a relationship with all the suppliers, and also be able to understand on the objectives and what supplier relationship all involves. So we are beginning by saying it's an approach where an organization interacts with its suppliers. And remember, this one is very key. Your relationship with suppliers will determine how far or what distance you can be able to travel in terms of the success of the business. So there are a number of activities that are aimed at maximizing a supplier relationship, and the end goal is for everyone to benefit. So it's a mutual kind of relationship that organizations seek to build with suppliers, and to ensure that suppliers are we have a good and a close relationship with them. And we are saying it's very, very essential in today's business. The business environment has become very competitive, and thus creating a relationship with your suppliers would also mean that they can trust you if you seek to use the option of getting goods from them and paying at a later date. So the environment being very competitive, supplier relationship is going to increase efficiency. Also, we are going to have reduced cost. For example, when we buy goods in large numbers, we could experience reduced cost because of what we call economies of scale, where you would enjoy discounts because you have created a relationship with the suppliers, and they know you, and they know that you have not failed them in terms of payment. And also, we will benefit as an organization in terms of improved product or service quality. Once you have created a relationship with the supplier, it is difficult for them now to deliver substandard goods, because this relationship has gone more than the normal organization supplier relationship. It has turned out to be a friendship. People that are in business, all of them willing to support each other to be able to move forward. So this is an aspect that we cannot be able to ignore. I invite you to focus on the other discussions that we are going to be having, so that you have a deep understanding of the concept of supplier relationship management. We have a number of objectives of supplier relationship management, and we are saying the key one is to improve supplier performance and also reduce supply chain risks. When you talk about supply chain risks, there are risks that along the supply chain the supplier might face that also might affect the organization at large. So once we have a good relationship with the supplier, they are committed to doing everything possible to ensure that as an organization we receive the goods as ordered. And also through supplier relationship management, we are able to enhance collaboration, communication within suppliers. And this, of course, creates a mutually beneficial relationship where everybody is doing their best. You, as the organization, when it comes to matters payment, you are able to do it on time, and you are able to satisfy your customers. And then, in return of the goodwill that you have shown, they are able to deliver goods on time. Another objective is we are saying that once these objectives that we have achieved above, there is the element of creating a stronger and more reliable supplier partnerships. Remember, these are partnerships that are going to last as long as the parties wish. So supplier relationship management is important because we build stronger relations, and of course these ones are meant to benefit all the parties involved. Now, we also have the elements in supplier relationship management. In short, we are saying supplier relationship management will involve a number of things. Number one is supplier selection. So we choose amongst many suppliers who are we going to be dealing with. Supplier evaluation. We also choose contract management. We make a decision on how we are going to be dealing with the suppliers in terms of the contracts that we sign or they sign with the organization. And performance measurement. We have key performance indicators as what is referred to as KPIs to be able to evaluate how the suppliers have been able to fare within a particular period of time. And also, uh, supplier relationship management will also involve effective management of everything that we have just mentioned. And we are saying it's very critical for supplier relationship implementation. Now, we have something very important we call supplier segmentation. And what happens in supplier segmentation? Simply, we are going to categorize our suppliers based on their strategic importance to the organization. So, based on what kind of support they are providing for us, then we can have different categories. This is similar to what we call in marketing, market segmentation. And in market segmentation, we are now grouping different customers based on a number of aspects. Maybe their buying patterns, maybe their levels of income, maybe their tastes and preferences, and so on and so forth. So when it comes to supplier segmentation, we also need to do something similar to that, where we categorize suppliers based on how important they are to the organization. And we are saying the purpose of doing this is to tailor make strategies that are going to meet unique needs of different supplier segments. So we can have suppliers that we can call strategic. We can also have those ones that we are going to call bottleneck suppliers. We could also have transactional suppliers. Each of them is very, very important. I invite you now, based on these three categories that we have just mentioned, that you can be able to do a small research, get to know how these suppliers operate, the strategic ones, the bottleneck ones, and the transactional ones. We have also something we call supplier performance metrics. And we are saying once we are measuring supplier performance, it involves assessing the quality, the delivery, and responsiveness of using key performance indicators. So we need to have performance metrics. And we can be able to use a number of methods to measure the level of supplier performance. For example, we could use what we call a balanced scorecard, and we are saying this particular method is going to provide an holistic view of supplier performance. We will be now taking into account various dimensions when we are measuring supplier performance. Remember, the reason why we are having these metrics within Matter Supply, we want to ensure that even if we are building a relationship with these people, they do not take advantage of the relationship and begin to supply substandard goods. So over and over again, we need to evaluate them. The organization reserves the right to choose other suppliers if the ones that they were depending on have not met the set standards. Also, very, very important is for us to do what we call supplier audits. And we are saying they are just systematic assessments of supplier processes, quality, compliance with contractual obligations. Yeah, so once we have audits done, the key, we want to look at the process, the supply chain process. How is it? Is it a process that affects the delivery of goods? Is it a process that wastes a lot of time? We can be able to ask ourselves those questions and be able to respond appropriately on what we need to do. And we also, when we are doing audits, we also focus on looking at quality. We also focus on compliance with contractual obligations. We could be having suppliers who have signed quite a number of contracts, but they are not fully adhering to them. So supplier audits also will look at the aspect of the contract. Have they been able to meet all the aspects of the contract? And we are saying audits will be very essential to ensure that suppliers meet the required standards, and also they need to deliver as promised. We have had instances on where businesses are closing down because maybe the supplier of raw materials has not been able to be committed as per the contractual agreement. And once a contract is breached, remember, it could be an avenue for the organization to be able to terminate the contract and move on to a different supplier. Now, talking about contract, the aspect of contract management is very, very important. And we need to have well-defined contracts with suppliers. And so these ones, we are going to outline the terms, conditions, and expectations of what they need to do. And we could come up with master agreements. We could also come up with what we call service level agreements if we are supposed to receive any services from suppliers. We could also come up with what we call framework agreements. And all these kind of contracts are key in terms of ensuring proper contract management, in terms of ensuring we are able to, both parties are able to understand the contract and work on making everything better in terms of each party's expectations. It is also very important for us to do what we call supplier development. And when you are doing supplier development, we could come up with programs that are going to focus on improving supplier capabilities. And these kind of programs will lead to better performance and competitiveness. So we can develop what we call collaborative improvement programs, where we are going to involve coming up with joint problem solving activities. Maybe we have a problem in the supply chain that as an organization and suppliers, you can discuss and come up with a solution. We could also share knowledge that is meant to benefit each one of us. So it is something that we need to do. And also, we also will focus on risk management in supplier relationship management. We are saying part of SRM will involve identifying and assessing supply chain risks. And these risks are going to include financial, operational, what we call geopolitical risks. Financial could be lack of finances, maybe to pay the suppliers, and that of course may cause delay. It could be operational and also geopolitical risks. Now, when we are talking about strategies for risk mitigation, we may include contingency planning. So we plan ahead, ensure we do proper planning for all supply chain activities. Due or sourcing, of course, due or means to. So we could try and have two suppliers so that when one fails, then we can also use the other one. And also supplier diversification. Now you can have quite a number of them, and now it is you to choose them based on reliability and how they are going to serve you. We also have what we call collaborative relationships, and this is where we build trust and fostering collaborative relationships with suppliers, which is very, very important in supplier relationship management. And when we are collaborating, then we are also doing joint business planning, where we share information. We align our goals together. Suppliers also need to align, understand the organization goals, and we are saying the end result is everyone being able to achieve what we call mutual benefits. We also have the aspect of communication in supplier relationship management, and communication is key. You cannot be dealing with suppliers and there is no communication at all. So this communication will be involve regular meetings, so the organization can meet with suppliers regularly. We could also have technology enabled communication tools, so we could do calls, we could do virtual meetings, and also part of communication is to be able to give performance feedback. It is to be able to, once you do supplier audits and evaluation, part of communication will emphasize on you giving feedback on what is to be done or what you have found in terms of the evaluation. Then the other one is we need to have a clear and transparent communication. This one is very essential in terms of building trust, and it is also going to assist us to resolve any issues that might be a challenge to us. We are able to resolve them. And once this transparency has been encouraged in communication, then nobody will be dissatisfied and keep quiet. Remember, we have built a relationship over time. So communicate if there are issues that you are not happy as an organization. Communicate if there are delays in payment as a supplier. You could also communicate, and so on and so forth. And then we have what we call supplier onboarding. We are saying this is an important process in integrating new suppliers into the organization. Over and over again, we will need new suppliers. Uh, just like on the organization perspective, we need to onboard new customers. So what we are going to be doing on onboarding, we now do what we call supplier qualification. So we can invite other suppliers to be pre-qualified for maybe future supplies. We can enhance our contract negotiation activities. We can also enhance compliance checks to ensure that all the suppliers that we have on board have complied with relevant laws and regulations, and also organization policies. We have also what we call supplier relationship governance, and we are saying governance models in SRM are going to be defining the roles, the responsibilities, and decision-making process within the organization. And we are going to be having cross-functional SRM teams that are going to oversee supplier relationships. And these cross-functional teams will also ensure alignment with organizational goals. And it is important to be able to note that, work on it, improve these relationships, and ensure that there is alignment with what the organization targets to achieve. We also very importantly have something we call the supplier code of conduct. In this code of conduct, just like the general code of conduct, like any other organization would have, this one will outline the health core and the responsible business practices that suppliers must adhere to. Remember, this relationship is not just something we just sit down and agree. We also need to have a code of conduct. These are like guidelines that if you are to be our supplier or a supplier to organization X, there are things that you must respect. So they are put in writing, and it is part of the documents that we could also have suppliers sign. It is a show that they are going to adhere to them. And the other one is so we end up having to build a relationship that, even though we are talking about a friendship, a relationship, a collaborative friendship, the conduct is now going to put the suppliers in line with the expectations of the organization. In supplier relationship management, we will also embrace technology. And that's why we are saying technology is going to play a very vital role in SRM. And this will include the use of software platforms, platforms to streamline processes. We could also have what we call electronic procurement or e-procurement. We could also have e-sourcing tools to improve efficiency and reduce costs in SRM. For example, we could have a system that is telling us on when the quantities supplied have reduced in numbers. That should be not something that is making us to do physical count every day. Once we receive the goods, we could put them into a system, and the moment we are releasing them, if they are products we are selling, for example, in a supermarket, we could have the system could be able to give us a way that we can be able to do evaluations of what is remaining. Then we can be able to know when to order and so on and so forth. We have what we call supplier collaboration tools and collaborative softwares and real-time data sharing tools are going now to enable us to closely collaborate as organizations and suppliers. And these kind of tools are also going to facilitate information exchange, where we are going to streamline procurement processes and ensure everything is working okay, because in terms of collaboration, we have tools and systems that are giving either side real-time data on what is happening in regards to supplies. We have performance improvement plans. These improvement plans are going to outline specific actions to address supplier deficiencies and enhance performance. So through it, we can monitor progress against these plans. That is very, very essential to be able to achieve the desired results. Now, in every relationship, once in a while, we could be having either party wanting to exit the agreement. So that's where we bring on the discussion of supplier exit strategies. And we are saying it is important to be able to manage the termination of supplier contracts. And this is going to require very careful planning to ensure a smooth transition. And this transition also will include, as part of exit strategies, also to find out alternative suppliers and also be able to address potential disruptions that might arise during the time for exit. Based on the reasons for exit, organizations could also conduct supplier exit interviews. Maybe it is the supplier who has proposed to exit. There might be a reason on why he is doing so or they are doing so. So we could engage them, we could have conversations with them. We could also have other challenges that the suppliers could have experienced on their end. It could be government policies that are affecting their business and they feel that they need to exit the market. So these exit strategies are very important. And sometimes even when we are doing contract management in relation to suppliers, we need to have exit clauses that are going to show uh, on why either party would be willing to exit the agreement. And these clauses will assist that we are going to have a smooth transition. And the relationship, even though the supplier relationship might come to an end, the friendship still continues because at some point you have done business together. We have issues of compliance and legal aspects where we ensure legal and regulatory compliance in supplier relationship management. And we are saying the purpose of doing this is to avoid legal issues and penalties. For example, if there are taxes that are supposed to be paid, if there are rates that are supposed to be paid, even along the way as the goods are heading to the organization, then we need to know them and get to know is going to meet that particular cost. And when the supplier is providing their costs, They would also have an alternative of including those costs based on the negotiations that you and the organization have been able to have. And part of compliance, we could also have dispute resolution mechanisms, contract enforcements, which are very, very essential components. Um, we mentioned about supplier diversification in one of the slides, and we are saying the key purpose is to seek out and support business owned by women, minorities, or other underrepresented groups. And so when we diversify, then we can trust either of these groups to deliver goods to us. And this is going to contribute to a more inclusive supply chain, and also have a social and economic benefit. Then supplier relationship management also moves to the global perspective. And we are saying in the global context, SRM is going to present unique challenges. For example, cultural differences, language barriers, geopolitical risks. And these are things that as a global supplier, you need to be aware of in terms of where you are delivering the goods. What is the cultural differences of communities there? You could also face challenges in the language. And then we are also saying effective global SRM strategies are going to require adaptability, and also cross-cultural competence. So very, very important to understand the global perspective of SRM. We have what we call the sustainable SRM, and we are saying sustainability is key because it considers the environmental and social responsibility in supplier relationships. And organizations are keen in terms of requiring suppliers to adopt sustainable practices and also report their sustainability initiatives. It is key, even as we have a relationship with the suppliers, we also look at how we can also be able to give back to the community as both parties or each party on its own, how we can be able to take care of the environment, for example, in terms of waste disposal. And when we do that, then this relationship goes beyond the supply and delivery of goods and services. There is more to that. We have issues and aspects around cost reduction strategies, and we are saying these ones are going to focus on optimizing, or another meaning is maximizing procurement processes, where we could also negotiate favorable terms, and practicing what we call value engineering. And we are saying these kind of strategies, the purpose of thinking about or having cost reduction strategies is to be able to aim to reduce the overall costs without the need to be able to compromise on quality. And then we also have very importantly what we call supplier self-service portals. And this kind of portals will provide suppliers with access to relevant information, tools to streamline interaction with the organization. And when we have this kind of portals, the suppliers could be able to understand, even from the organization perspective, without physically visiting the organization. They could log into a platform and be able to see when is the next supply to that particular organization. And the key purpose of having these self-service portals is to ensure that we have transparency and efficiency in the procurement sector and in the supplies sector. Now we have supplier relationship management best practices, and these include industry best practices. For example, benchmarking against peers. So you as suppliers could benchmark with other people that are doing the same supplies. At the organizational level and perspective, the organization could also benchmark with other organizations that are doing similar businesses, or that have things that are similar. And then we also need to have continuous improvement initiatives, and also we need to have supplier collaboration forums. So all those are very, very important forums for supplier relationship management to be able to move to the next level. And finally, we need also to stay up to date with the industry trends, what is happening around the industry. We could have new policies that affect either parties, policies on taxation. We could have change in governments. We could have social cultural issues that have arose. So once we study these trends, we could have things to do with competition. We could have things to do with pricing, competition on who gives the best prices. All of this is encompassed in ensuring that we observe best practices. And we are saying once we do this, it is vital for everyone to be able to succeed. So that is going to bring us to the end of this particular lecture on introduction to supplier relationship management.